As David journeyed deeper into the Judean wilderness, the sun beat down relentlessly, turning the landscape into a shimmering mirage. His throat was parched, his lips cracked, and every step was a battle against the whispers of despair. How many more days must I endure this torment? A mocking voice echoed within him. It seemed as though God had abandoned him to this desolate wasteland. Yet deep in his heart, he refused to yield. With eyes fixed on the horizon, he pressed on. After a few days of walking, he came across a small village and people were standing by the roadside waving and shouting. David approached cautiously. "What's the matter?" he asked. A woman wiped tears from her eyes. "We have heard that King Saul has ordered all young men fit for service to come to him, and now we fear for our sons." David understood the gravity of the situation. If Saul found any able-bodied men, he would conscript them into the army, and with the threat of the Philistines looming, there was little chance of escape. "I am not far from here," said one of the villagers. "If you hide in the cave, you can flee from Saul's soldiers." So David hid in a cave nearby. He spent his days tending the sheep, watching the world go by, waiting for the right time to make his move. The villagers had given him some bread and cheese, and this kept him going during those lonely days. One day, David stood at the mouth of the cave, staring at the rolling hills. He remembered his old life, the familiar routine of shepherding, the warmth of his family, the laughter of children playing. Was it possible to reclaim that innocence, or was he destined to wander in this desolate wilderness forever? Suddenly, a group of soldiers emerged from behind a rock. Their leader was tall and muscular, his armor gleaming in the sunlight. It was King Saul. David's heart raced. He had been discovered. Quickly hiding behind a large stone, he watched as Saul and his men passed by, their voices echoing in the cavernous space. Relief washed over him. For now, he had managed to evade capture. But how long could this continue? He was weary of hiding, of living in constant fear. As the days turned into weeks, a longing for something more filled his heart. Was there no hope for him to rebuild his life, to find peace amidst the turmoil? Or was he cursed to wander the earth, haunted by the past, forever seeking solace in vain? Just when David's spirits had reached their lowest ebb, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. A traveler approaching the cave noticed David and beckoned for him to follow. They walked together for a while in comfortable silence until the traveler finally broke the quiet. "Are you David?" he asked. Startled, David realized that someone knew his name. "Yes," he replied hesitantly. The stranger smiled kindly. "I am Jonathan, the son of King Saul. I have heard about your bravery and skill, and I believe you are the chosen one spoken of by the prophet Samuel." Taken aback by Jonathan's words, David struggled to comprehend what was being said. Chosen one, what did it mean? Before he could respond, Jonathan continued, "My father, the king, is unaware of my conversation with you. Please return to your village and await my signal. When I show myself with this ring on my hand, you must leave immediately." Understanding dawned on David. Jonathan was offering him a chance to escape his pursuers and start anew somewhere else. Gratitude filled his heart. In the following weeks, David waited patiently by the river, sharpening his spear and sword, keeping himself prepared for whatever lay ahead. Finally, one day, Jonathan appeared, wearing the ring on his hand as a signal. Without a word, David slipped away into the forest, moving swiftly and silently like a shadow. Behind him, he heard the distant sound of pursuit, but he dared not look back. Adrenaline surged through his veins, urging him to flee. After several hours, he stopped to catch his breath, leaning against a tree and surveying his surroundings. Fear and excitement battled within him. Where should he go from here? Should he keep running or try to find somewhere to hide? Suddenly, a small cottage came into view. Smoke curled from its chimney, promising shelter and perhaps even food. Cautiously he approached, hoping to find a friendly face. When he knocked on the door, a woman opened it, her eyes widening in surprise. "Can I help you?" she asked. David hesitated. Should he reveal his identity or keep running? Before he could respond, a man appeared beside her, his gaze sharp and inquisitive. "Who are you?" the man demanded. "And what brings you to our humble abode?" David took a deep breath and began his tale, explaining his dire situation and the impending danger. As he spoke, he noticed a glimmer of understanding in the man's eyes, followed by a nod of acknowledgement. "Come inside, David," the man said warmly. "We will protect you. My wife and I are old, and our son is away serving in King Saul's army. We cannot bear the thought of him becoming a pawn in this terrible war." Touched by their kindness, David stepped inside, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. This family's compassion offered him a sanctuary where he could rest and plan his next move. Days turned into weeks, and David thrived in his temporary home. The couple treated him like their own son, sharing their meals and stories. In return, David assisted them with chores and offered companionship. But the tranquility of this idyll couldn't last forever. One evening, as they gathered around a small fire, the woman suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, no! The king's soldiers might be searching for David near our village. We must warn him." Immediately, David went out to the stable and saddled a donkey. "I need to leave now," he told the couple, realizing that staying any longer would only put them in danger. With a heavy heart, David turned and fled into the darkness. Behind him, the sound of pursuing footsteps grew louder, closer. Adrenaline surged through him as he raced through the forest, branches whipping at his face, twigs snapping under his weight. Suddenly, he stumbled upon a deep ravine, too wide and treacherous to jump. Trapped with nowhere to go, David looked back. Soldiers emerged from the trees, their faces grim and determined. There was no escape. But just as he braced for capture, a voice rang out. "Hold! I command you in the name of the Most High God. Stop your pursuit of David. Release him and let him go unharmed." Startled by the sudden interruption, the soldiers halted their advance, turning to face their commander. "Commander, what does the voice say?" one of them whispered. The commander frowned, listening intently. "It seems to be coming from that cave," he replied, pointing towards a dark opening in the rocks. Intrigued and slightly apprehensive, the soldiers cautiously approached the cave entrance. As they ventured deeper inside, the air grew colder, sending shivers down their spines. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, illuminated by a radiant light. It was an elderly man, his face etched with wisdom and power. The soldiers gasped in awe, recognizing the revered prophet Samuel. Samuel raised his staff, silencing the murmuring troops. "Today," he proclaimed, "God has chosen David to be the king of Israel. He is the one who will deliver us from our enemies and restore peace to our land." The soldiers bowed their heads, acknowledging Samuel's words and their own inability to defy divine providence. Gently, Samuel guided David out of the cave and into the sunlight. Before them stood a group of cheering Israelites, overjoyed to see their champion freed. David, overwhelmed with gratitude, knelt before Samuel and the crowd. "I thank you, Lord, for delivering me from my enemies. Guide me as I lead my people, for I desire to be faithful to your commands." The crowd roared its approval, hailing David as their future king. From that day forward, David rallied the Israelites, leading them to victory against their oppressors. His reign ushered in an era of peace and prosperity, fulfilling the prophecy spoken by Samuel so long ago. David's story serves as a timeless reminder that with unwavering faith and courage one can overcome even the greatest adversities. Through his trials and triumphs, he exemplified the power of resilience and the importance of staying true to one's purpose in the face of challenges.